Trader Joe's used to make this curry chicken salad with bite-sized chunks of chicken, not shredded. It was solid. A little sweet, savory, crunchy, great textures and flavor. My wife loved it. Then they changed it. Now it's this overly wet, stringy mess, a chicken salad mush, and she just can't enjoy it anymore, so she asked me to recreate the original, and that's what we're doing. I'm gonna do something a little different to bring out the flavors, but nothing too crazy. If you miss Trader Joe's curry chicken salad, you've come to the right place, and if you're looking for a new type of chicken salad, this curry chicken is a great option. Let's get started. Start by poaching your chicken. You'll need about 1.5 to 2 pounds, so 680 to 900 grams. Place the chicken in a pot and cover it with water. Then bring that to a boil and let it go for 2 minutes. Then drop it down to a simmer for 8 to 12 minutes, depending on how much chicken you have to poach. Skim away the scum, which is that white stuff floating on the top of the water. It's just albumin, like in eggs. It's not a big deal. When it's done, pull it out and let it cool. I'm putting mine in the fridge to speed that up. Just roast half a cup or 75 grams of cashews at 350 degrees Fahrenheit for about 8 minutes. I'm going to start by chopping 2 to 3 green onions using the white and green parts. If your cashews are ready, give those a rough chop. I like leaving a few whole for the added variety of texture, and don't chop them up too small. That crunch is a necessary feature. Same goes for the cranberries or dried cherries. I start with a rough chop, leaving some in whole pieces. I'm adding about 75 grams. The original recipe called for raisins, but my wife is not a big fan, so if you love raisins, have at it. Or you could always mix it up with all three: cranberries, cherries, and raisins. For the carrots, I use up to 1 cup or 90 grams. I have these fancy ones left over from this delicious carrot ginger soup I made, and I'm using a special peeler I have that can shred these julienne style, and I'm honestly being very careful not to cut myself. You could shred your own, but I made a huge batch after filming this video for a family gathering at my wife's request. She really does love this salad, and opted to save my fingers, and I used a pre-shredded stuff. It's super easy. Save yourself the heartache and get the pre-shredded stuff. If you feel like the pieces are too big, give those a rough chop as well. The great thing about this salad is the variety of textures and flavors. Now I'm going to zest a whole lime. I think adding that with the juice just brings something special. And here's where I get a little fancy. I'm going to toast some fresh spices. I have cumin and coriander seeds that I'll toast gently for 2 to 3 minutes just to warm them up, and then use my little mortar and pestle to grind that up. You can obviously use pre-ground spices, which I do as well, you will see when I make the dressing, but I feel like this really brings up the flavor. Now for the dressing. In a medium-sized bowl, mix half a cup of mayo, about 120 grams for now. You will likely add more if you want more creaminess. Then I'm adding 2 teaspoons of mustard, 1 teaspoon of honey, 1 teaspoon of garlic powder, and the juice from half the lime. But you'll need the rest later, and then a pinch of salt. Now, here's where I get a little more fancy again, and it's totally optional. I warmed up about 1.5 tablespoons of oil, and I added the freshly ground cumin and coriander spice with curry and turmeric, and I'm mixing this up. This is called blooming the spices. It opens them up again, giving more aroma and flavor to any dish. I'm mixing that up with everything, and I noticed that I did want a little more yellow, so I'm adding more curry and turmeric, and again, stirring it all together. I'm adding the lime zest and the rest of the lime juice because I want the consistency to be a little looser. And then giving it a taste where I'll add more garlic powder and salt, but you can adjust it with more lime, salt, spice, and even water to fix the consistency. Now that the chicken is cooled down, that makes chopping it up much easier. Cut the pieces into cubes or a medium to small dice. Don't go too small, otherwise it might start to fall apart. The whole point was to avoid it being a shredded mush, so I'm cutting it fairly conservatively. In my second batch for the family, I ended up cutting the pieces a bit smaller, so keep that in mind. Then add everything to a bowl. Chicken goes in, then sprinkle in your shredded carrots, then the roasted and toasted cashews, followed by the onions, and finally spread out the dried cherries so that they don't clump together, and get all that sweet dressing in, and mix it up with purpose, making sure to coat everything. You want to give this a little effort before you decide to add anything more like mayo or mustard. I'll taste it first, and I ended up adding another tablespoon and a half of mayo to the salad. I'll make sure to note that in the recipe in the description below, but remember, this is very much a personal decision. My wife noted that she wanted more mayo for the second batch, and I just don't like my chicken curry salad too creamy, but whatever floats your boat. What you should have is something that looks like chicken salad with nice chunks of chicken, a great variety of sweet carrots, crunchy nuts, and the tart cherries and sharp onions, and not a mayonnaise soup. Remember, heavy is the hand that can ruin your chicken salad. Stick it in the fridge for at least 30 minutes if you have the time. It gets better once the flavors settle in. And that's it. It's everything the old Trader Joe's version used to be. And honestly, I know my wife's gonna love it. I might just get lucky tonight. Anyway, curry chicken salad, like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.